Right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start this lesson off by giving all the praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakudash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Honors to all the brothers who are fervently preaching the word in sincerity and in faith. Shalom to all the sincere believers. Now, this is going to be a quick lesson just based on this collision that happened at New York's LaGuardia Airport between a jet and a fire truck. So through the Spirit, I'm going to read this article, get some precepts, and the Lord's will you're edified. It says, pilot and co-pilot killed in collision between jet and fire truck at New York's LaGuardia Airport. It says 2 people were killed and several others badly hurt when an Air Canada regional jet struck a fire truck on a runway while landing at New York's LaGuardia Airport, officials say. The pilot and co-pilot were killed in the late Sunday night collision, which crushed the nose of the aircraft, while around 40 passengers and crew members were taken to area hospitals, some with serious injuries. Most have since been released from treatment, authorities said Monday. 2 Port Authority employees who were traveling in the fire truck also suffered injuries that were not believed to be life-threatening, said Catherine Garcia, executive director of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, which operates the airport. The pilot and co-pilot were both based out of Canada, Garcia said during a news conference. The airport will remain closed until at least 2 p.m. Monday to facilitate the investigation, which is being led by the National Transportation Safety Board. The fire truck was traveling across the runway to respond to a separate incident aboard a United Airlines flight, whose pilot had reported an issue with odor, said Garcia, who deferred additional questions about the sequence of events leading up to the crash to the NTSB. Said there were 72 passengers and 4 crew members aboard the aircraft, a Jazz Aviation flight operating on behalf of Air Canada, according to a statement from the airline. The flight originated at Montreal Pierre Elliott Trudeau International Airport, the major airport serving Montreal. Photos and videos from the scene shows severe damage to the front of the aircraft, with cables and debris hanging from a mangled cockpit. Nearby a damaged emergency vehicle lay on its side. Stairways used to evacuate passengers from the aircraft were pushed up to the emergency exit on the jet, a Bombardier CRJ. The impact left the jet with its crumpled nose tilted upward. In the moments before the crash, an air traffic controller could be heard on a radio transmission giving clearance to a vehicle to cross part of the tarmac, then trying to stop it. Said, "Stop, truck 1, stop," the transmission says. The controller can then be heard frantically diverting an incoming aircraft from landing. Air traffic controllers are not impacted by the partial government shutdown that has caused long delays at airport security checkpoints in recent days. They have been affected by past shutdowns. It says as passengers straggled out of the airport into the dark early Monday, some described having arrived at LaGuardia hours before their flight, hoping to beat the lines. Arturo Davidson said his Miami-bound flight was on the tarmac Sunday night when fellow passengers saw the collision or its aftermath, and reactions rippled through the cabin. Said the passengers were soon told there had been an accident. About 20 minutes later, they were informed the airport was closing and they must return to the terminal. He said later Monday, gazing at a departure board filled with cancellations. Said, "I don't think we're going home at 2, he sighed, referring to the time Monday afternoon that officials gave as the earliest for reopening LaGuardia. So LaGuardia was 19th busiest in 2024 out of more than 500 U.S. airports, with over 16.7 million passengers boarding there, according to a 2025 FAA database. The airport, which opened to commercial traffic in 1939, covers 680 acres and borders Flushing and Bowery Bays in Queens. The Port Authority of New York and New Jersey describes it as one of the nation's leading domestic gateways for business and leisure travel in its 2024 airport traffic report. Yeah, so, you know, horrible judgment, man. But this right here is just proof that America is just a very chaotic place. Like, this sort of thing was not happening like this like 10 years ago. All of these planes crashing and all of this. This was not happening like this 10 years ago. But a lot of people have said that since Trump got in office and just totally turned everything inside out and upside down, there's been a lot of this happening. These planes crashing and things like that. And honestly, it just goes to show that we're almost out of here, man. And like I've said before, we can expect a lot more of this. Planes crashing, helicopters crashing, trains derailing, car crashes, semi-truck crashes, all of that. Zephaniah 3 and 5. The just Lord Yahweh is in the midst thereof. He will not do iniquity. Every morning doth he bring his judgment to light. He faileth not, but the unjust knoweth no shame. And that's right. The Heavenly Father is in the midst of every judgment that takes place, because these are his judgments. So ultimately, the Heavenly Father caused this plane to crash into this fire, which resulted in the pilot and the co-pilot getting killed and a bunch of other people being injured. And like it says, every morning doth he bring his judgment to light. And that's right. These are his judgments. These are the judgments of the Heavenly Father Yahweh. This was not an accident. It wasn't random. It was the Lord's judgment. Deuteronomy 32:39. See now that I, even I am he, and there is no power with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. And that's right. The Lord, through his judgments, wounds and kills people. And there's nobody that can deliver those people out of the Lord's hand. There's nobody that can save those people. And that's what majority of these people out here don't understand. Somebody will find a way to blame the air traffic controller and be like, oh, well, they told the fire truck that they could go, and then they tried to stop the plane from coming in, but the plane was probably already too close to landing and couldn't stop. So, that collision was inevitable. But you can't really blame the traffic controller when you understand that this is all the Lord's work. 1 Samuel 2 and 6, the Lord Yahweh killeth and maketh alive. He bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up. And that's right. The Heavenly Father kills. According to Ecclesiasticus 39:28 and 29, one of the Lord's spirits of vengeance is death. So through his spirits of vengeance, the Lord does, you know, kill people, these wicked people that he's angry with, according to Psalm 7 and 11. Job 4 and 7, remember, I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent, or where were the righteous cut off? And the answer is that nobody perishes being innocent. So those two pilots, the pilot and the co-pilot who died in that collision, they were not innocent in the eyes of the Lord. And that's why they're the only two people who died. Everybody else got, well, not everybody else, but a couple of other people got injured to varying degrees or varying severity. But the pilot and the co-pilot are the only ones who actually perished. Verse 8, even as I have seen, they that plow iniquity and sow wickedness reap the same. And that's what's happening. And seeing as we're in the last days, these type of judgments are going to get heavier and heavier. They're going to get more severe. See, the Lord is not playing with these wicked people. Ecclesiastes 3 and 1. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. Verse 2, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. And for those two pilots, it was their time to die. And that's why that collision happened. That collision happened to kill the two pilots and to injure all of the people who did get injured. Ultimately, it's the judgment of the Heavenly Father coming to pass. It was the will of the Lord being fulfilled. And that's how it always is, regardless of what type of situation. Whether it's a fire that results in people getting wounded or killed, a car crash, a boat accident, a plane crash, a helicopter crash, a tornado sweeping through a town and causing a bunch of destruction and killing and wounding people, an animal attack, whatever it is, it's all the judgment of the Heavenly Father. And the Lord is going to force these people to acknowledge him and give him his credit instead of always trying to pass it off to somebody else. These are the judgments of the Heavenly Father. Nothing good or bad happens unless the Lord wants it to. Plain and simple. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up here. In closing, I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim Rakakudash, the water Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, for putting the spirit on me to do this lesson. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Honors toward our brothers who are still fervently preaching the word in sincerity and in faith. And shalom toward the sincere believers, which includes the scattered Israelites who are amongst these other nations and look like these other nations. I hope you all stay strong, stay safe, stay fervent, stay circumspect, stay prayed up, and Adawan Ratazah. Until next time, shalom.